Top 10 White Sands National Park Visiting Tips. In this video, I'll give you some tips if you plan on visiting White Sands National Park in New Mexico. Tip number 1, make sure to check their official website to see if there are missile tests when you plan to visit. If there are scheduled missile launches, you'll want to pick a different day to go, otherwise the park will be closed. A link to the park closure schedule can be found in the description of this video. Tip number 2, make sure to bring sunscreen, sunglasses, hats and water, as it can get very hot and the sun can get pretty intense. Items in the park gift shop are very expensive, so stock up before you arrive. Tip number 3, you do not have to go through the gift shop before entering the park. At the visitor center, you may see a long line of people waiting to go in the gift shop. Many people mistakenly believe you have to go here first before you can enter the park. The truth is, you do not need to go through the visitor center at all. You can skip and drive directly to the gates. The only reason you need to go through here is if you want to buy souvenirs, expensive hats or sleds to go sledding on the sand. Tip number 4, bring your own sleds. If you want to save time, money and skip long lines, bring your own sleds. If you don't, you may have to wait in a long line, which isn't very fun. If you buy sleds at the gift shop, make sure you keep your receipt, as you can trade your sled in before you leave. When I visited, you could turn your sleds back in for a souvenir magnet. Wow! This may change at any time, so you may want to call in advance to ask what their current sled policy is. Tip number 5, the sand roads may get bumpy. As the wind blows the sand on the roads, tiny dunes may form, creating a bumpy ride. You may be able to avoid this depending on the vehicle you are driving. If you have the option, you are best off taking an SUV or truck to minimize the bumps. Tip number 6, keep an eye out for rattlesnakes. You will see rattlesnake signs around the park, so keep an eye out for them as you explore the park. Personally, I didn't see any, but if you spend enough time out there, you may run into one. Watch your step. Tip number 7, if you have the option, consider visiting during a full moon. Numerous people recommended visiting during a full moon. The reason is the light from the moon creates stunning views for photography, and you won't be struggling in the heat. If you can't visit during a full moon, consider going early in the morning, late afternoon or around sunset for the best photography. Tip number 8, sand sledding advice. Before sledding, wax the bottom of your sled. If it is really hot out, you may want to drive up to a nice dune near a parking lot to sled and minimize your time in the heat. Use your vehicle as a base. Wherever you are sledding at, check the bottom of the hill to see if it is soft or hard. Injuries sometimes occur when people think the bottom of a hill is soft, only to find out it is hard. For safety reasons, always sled with your feet pointing downhill. Do not stand up while sledding. Tip number 9, enjoy nearby attractions. Surprisingly, there are several hotels, restaurants, shops and more near White Sands in Alamogordo, New Mexico. You may want to consider getting a hotel to make your entire experience more enjoyable. If you are on a long road trip, I would recommend having a hotel to go to after you visit White Sands. This way you can cool off, relax and wash all the sand off you instead of having to drive feeling hot, dirty and disgusting. Tip number 10, make sure you bring your camera. This is one of the most unique places on the planet, so you will definitely want to take photos and video. Best time for photography is early morning, late afternoon, sunrise or sunset and at night. Some people wonder if it is worth it to visit White Sands National Monument, and the answer is a definite yes. If you have any questions before visiting, be sure to leave a comment below and I'll do my best to help. If this video was helpful to you, please give it a like and don't forget to subscribe. Enjoy your visit.